The city of Sydney, on one of the world's great harbours, venue for the 2005 Ssangyong World Championship for 18-foot skiffs. And in the 67-year history of the event, it's never been closer. At this stage, any one of 6 boats can win the series, but on the points table, it looks like the boats to beat are Club Marine, ASCO Appliances and Rag and Famish.
What's it going to take to beat Club Marine?
It's going to take an awful lot, actually, because they've been sailing well and we've got to beat them by at least 5 places. So that's going to be hard, and we've got the Rag and Famish who are on equal points with us, so we can't really sort of cover or watch any boat. We just have to go and sail the best race we can.
What's the plan to win this from here?
I think we'll just do our best out there today. If we can win the race and a few cards fall in the right spot, we might get lucky, but we're relying on a few other things falling our way, so we'll just look after ourselves and see what happens.
I guess our game plan's been the same all week, just to get off the start line and be observant and see what's happening on the race course. And obviously today there's 2 boats that are in contact with us, so we'll have to keep a little close eye on them.
Thanks to the support of our generous sponsor Ssangyong, the winning crew will drive away in this magnificent Musso Sports dual cab ute valued at $30,000. I'm Rob Mundell calling this final race, and joining me is Richard Scotts as co-commentator, and we're already underway. There's a lovely southeasterly breeze building on Sydney Harbour, and there is one of the leading contenders, Casio, moving up the harbour nicely. We've got head cam on board Casio for this entire race to give you the feel of what it's like to race one of the fastest single-hulled sailboats in the world. Crisscrossing their way upwind here. It's going to be a very tactical race. We're looking for the 3 leading contenders. This is Team Pegasus from America. They're coming good towards the end of the series, sailed by Howie Hamlin, but really not in the running. In fact, there's ASCO, so they're starting to make a claim towards being at the front of the fleet. AAPT, sailed by veteran Trevor Barnabas, has been a little inconsistent in the series, had some good results and not so good results, but today looking pretty good.
And we're on board with Casio. They're just sailing over the top of AAPT, and they will move into the lead as we head up towards this top mark.
Michael Coxon, the skipper of Casio, and yes, they are leading around the top mark. A nice lead there over AAPT. We haven't seen any of the leading contenders for this title just yet. Be interesting to find where they're placed, but right now it's called go for it as hard as you can regardless, because anything can happen in this race. It's the closest contest in the 67-year history of the event.
Just keeping an eye on Club Marine back here, Rob. Looks like they're well back, and this could really jeopardise their position for the overall title results.
The crews can drop their worst performance in these 7 heats, so 6 races count. And what we're seeing from these aerial shots at the moment is that Club Marine is back in 13th or 14th spot. So right now on the points table, it's going to be between ASCO Appliances and Rag and Famish for the title. But there's still a long way to go in this race. These boats are very tippy, very unstable. As we watch Casio really starting to roar down the harbour here. This is why you see these boats being billed as the fastest for what they are in the world. There's only 8 knots of breeze here, and yet they're sailing twice as fast as the strength of the wind. Remarkable performance here.
Yeah, great skills on board Casio. They've had a really good regatta so far. And now we join the action with Rag and Famish. And here's AAPT. That looks like they've moved into 2nd position. And Trevor Barnabas looks like he's got this boat sailing very nicely under spinnaker.
Trevor Barnabas come out of retirement for this race. Sean Langman, the normal skipper, was injured on the eve of the event. And Trevor's stepped in and done a great job. Great performance, great speed down here. Sails trimmed perfectly. And right now, AAPT has hit the front.
And here's Club Marine. Look, if they're not careful, they could drop out of contention here. They must have a good result in this race if they're to keep ahead of Rag and Famish and ASCO Appliances.
The skipper here, Ewan McNichol, a rookie, his first year as a helmsman. A young crew doing a remarkably good job until now. They haven't been this far back in the fleet in any one of the previous 6 races. They've really got the job ahead of them. As we watch Michael Coxon and a team on Casio chasing in the 2nd spot, but it's AAPT still out in front as we look at what's happening on board through the head cam.
In fact, things are going so well for Casio, they're moving into first position as we catch pictures here of AAPT. They've now dropped back to second, and here we see Casio coming around the bottom mark, on board with Casio in first position.
So it's now Casio leading AAPT, a real seesawing race in this final round of the Ssangyong World Championship for 18-foot skiffs. Back to the racing, and we have a race within a race. Right now it's Casio, Michael Coxon leading this final heat of the World Championship from AAPT, but within this race we have the battle for the title. One of the contenders, RMW, the defending champion from England, going round the mark just ahead of Team Pegasus and ASCO we saw there. And here's another one of the front runners, Rag and Famish. But where is Club Marine? That's the big question as we go on board Fisher and Paykel here. The crew battling. Oh, look at this for a messy mark rounding. The wind has gone very light.
Well, they're going to have to be careful here. They're right on top of one another on this mark.
These mark roundings are where you find big losses and gains. In fact, that's what's happened. RMW Marine, the defending champion, has moved up into second place now, ahead of AAPT. So great job from the British here in this lovely southeast breeze that looks like it might build as the day goes on.
Yeah, RMW seem to have got stronger as this meet has gone further. They haven't had the win they've been looking for, but I tell you what, they've learnt to adjust on this harbour and they seem to be improving with every race.
Casio there, our race leader, the crew very well forward, stacked right forward on the wings to keep the boat perfectly balanced there. They want the boat to rotate around their weight to give us the best possible passage through the water.
And here we are back with Club Marine. They're slowly making their way up through the field. They're now back in 10th place, I think, Rob. So they're still in with contention. They need to get within the top 9 spots to take this series. So there's plenty of pressure on this young crew.
Certainly going to test their mettle. Can they come from behind? One of the youngest teams on the race course as we watch them get to the top mark now, and we still have Casio in the lead, and it's a very comfortable lead. So great job there by Michael Coxon and the team, opening up a lead in this final race.
Yeah, RMW seem to have fallen a little bit back there, but I think they'll be happy having moved into second position as the crew on board Casio gets the spinnaker up, and it looks like we've got a bit of breeze coming ahead.
RMW Marine, in fact, won every heat. This boat here won every heat in the last World Championship. So they have won one race here, but it certainly hasn't been their regatta. And look at this. Now we've got, oh no, AAPT's got a duck behind there.
Be careful here.
Tack. Very close here, just ducking in behind RMW. So a great race now for second spot, while Casio still maintains a very strong lead.
And this is AAPT, currently in third spot. Trevor Barnabas doing a great job to keep up the leaders here.
Coming to the mark now, RMW Marine around second spot. There's AAPT coming into third.
And you'll see Rag and Famish in the top of the picture there. I think this is going to put them in a very strong position. Oh, and look at what's going up further up the field here.
This is called a major hurdle. We've got a tourist ship right in front of the fleet. This is going to be really tough sailing here for Casio. Just got around the back of it. Very fortunate there. So just missed that hurdle, so they maintain their lead, but that could well prove to be a problem for the others coming up behind.
And we're back with RMW here in second spot. They would have seen the problems Casio had there, so they're certainly still in the hunt, and they'll be enjoying this breeze as it starts to build.
Here's our race leader opening up a very comfortable margin now. In fact, the two obstructions have moved off the course, so we're back to a clean race. Casio Michael Coxon handling the conditions superbly after making a great start. This man knows his harbour extremely well. Comes from a great sailing family. Lots of choppy water, a lot of spectator boats, a lot of commercial craft on the harbour today. That doesn't make it any easier. Again, just about 8 knots of breeze, and look at the speed of this boat through the water. And here's one of our front runners for the overall World Championship title. They're doing everything possible they can on board ASCO, but they're not really making any impression on our race leader as such, and that is Casio. The main concern for ASCO is where is Club Marine, where is Rag and Famish, because it's all going to go down to how many places are between these boats at the finish of the race to decide who takes the world crown, who is the world's best small boat sailor, who is the world's best 18-foot skiff sailor.
And this is ASCO. They're now back in 5th position, which will actually put them in front overall in the series.
Meanwhile, Casio around the mark. Breeze has in fact gone a little bit lighter here. See the crew just starting to power. They got back to 3 strings, 3 on the wire. Whoa, a lucky one there for RMW Marine around the mark. Had to ease the sails to stay upright there. All crew now out on the trapeze. Just amazing the power that these boats generate in this weight of breeze.
Yes, just 27 seconds separating first and second on that mark.
RMW Marine moving very nicely now in pursuit of our leader, and it's close here. Look at this. Rag and Famish and ASCO Appliances coming around the mark. Oh, and we've got to capsize. One of our English crews taking a bath in Sydney Harbour. This World Championship for 18-foot skiffs is still anyone's race. This is the decider, and this boat right now is leading on points as we watch the English entry get back upright after capsizing at the leeward mark. Hugh Stoddart on board ASCO Appliances is doing a beautiful job here, moving upwind, laying claim to the world crown in what is the closest series in a 67-year history of this event.
They've had a very good regatta, ASCO, and once again they're showing their consistency. But here we are back with RMW. They're in 2nd position and they are once again stalking Casio for 1st spot.
Rob Greenhow, the skipper, knows Sydney Harbour along with his team, but really things haven't gone their way in this regatta. As we go back aboard Casio, our race leader. Crew tacking there. Look how quickly they have to get out onto the wings to maintain the balance on these boats. It's only their weight that keeps them upright. Trapeze artist and human ballast all the way around the track. Spinnaker going up.
You can see the distance here they've built up. I think they've actually extended that lead on that mark, and you'll see RMW just heading up to the top mark now. Yes, you can see Casio in the foreground. It's looks like the lead's definitely been extended.
Well, Richard, nothing's certain in sailing, but if you were leading a race, that's the sort of margin you'd like to be holding at this stage. That's a fantastic gap.
Yeah, but you can never count out RMW. We've seen in races gone by, this is a very canny crew. They're never out of it, and they'll never stop trying to pick up 1st place, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them figure in the end.
AAPT coming into the mark now, but you're absolutely right, Richard. You're dealing with the elements, you're dealing with the weather, you're dealing with tactics. And anything can happen in this sort of racing. And these guys will not settle until the race is over.
Beautiful pictures here as we take a sneak preview of Sydney Harbour as RMW in 2nd place starts to track down Casio.
And look how spread out the fleet is at this stage. You just saw it in the background there. Huge gaps in this race, and that tells you just how light and how tricky these conditions are. The wind is shifty, it's light, it's puffy, everything's coming. But this crew on board Casio is getting it absolutely right. They are doing a super job.
Yeah, they haven't done much wrong, and we've seen all week too. They're a very, very consistent crew, and I think they'll be enjoying this position out in front.
No doubt about that. Powering along, not a white cap to be seen, and yet this boat's doing about 12-14 knots down the harbour. Spectacular racing here, spectacular performance. Pity it's not tighter, but really we've still got a race within a race. Let's not forget that, to decide who's going to win this title. And here's one of the contenders, Rag and Famish, coming in.
Just sailing over the back of Team Pegasus, the American, Howie Hamlin, as we join Casio back in 1st position and enjoying a bit of a breeze here.
Plenty of pressure there. ASCO still doing nicely. They'll anxiously be looking behind to see where Club Marine is as we watch Casio go around the mark, still with a good lead over RMW Marine, the British entry.
And back with ASCO and Rag and Famish. These two, they're not giving in without a fight. back in 4th and 5th respectively, and we're back with RMW, who now come down the bottom mark in 2nd position, still trying to track down Casio.
So right now the team on board ASCO will be feeling reasonably comfortable. They know they've got the gap over Club Marine on the points table and Rag and Famish right now. AAPT not in calculations for the overall title. As we watch Casio go through attack, the crew stand up, walk right out to the end of the wings and hook up on the trapeze wires.
And here we are with Club Marine. They've now moved up to 9th position. And it looks like they're slowly moving up through the field. This is going to be a very exciting finish now. Club Marine certainly picking up as this race extends.
Still the Casio crew doing everything right as they ease away around this mark and head off up the harbour towards the city and the harbour bridge. But what we're seeing now, this World Championship's going to go down to the last throw of the dice.
Welcome back to the action with RMW, our British crew, now in 2nd position, with AAPT moving closer, now into 3rd position, as we're about a third of the way to go in this course.
Still no sign of the wind increasing in strength, and that makes the effort by RMW Marine even more credible. They do prefer sailing in stronger winds. Rag and Famish now, are they starting to stake a claim? Might they win this world title? We went into it with any one of 6 boats having a chance, this team being one of them. John Harris and the crew doing very nicely right now. Making great speed. But really the threat's going to be from Club Marine. It's all going to hinge on where Club Marine finishes in this final race of the World Championship, while Casio continues to claim first place in grand fashion. They have still a big lead over RMW Marine.
Yeah, Rob, looks like AAPT has now crept past the British crew. Surprisingly, they're now back into 2nd position. And yes, here we are with RMW.
We've got a problem there, though. A little problem with their spinnaker on RMW.
And yes, they've moved back into 3rd position. They'll be very disappointed with that. AAPT now in 2nd position, just behind Casio.
AAPT coming into the mark now. Very tricky conditions here. That's a good gap over RMW Marine, and I think they may have broken the tip off their spinnaker pole the way it looked there on RMW Marine going on that run, so that explains why AAPT got through them. But now upwind, look at this. RMW's reclaimed AAPT and they're starting to close the gap on Casio. So we've got a really powerful race here for first place. In fact, RMW's found the go button. They're climbing out. Look how close it is. These boats were minutes apart a few minutes ago, and now RMW has come into it. In fact, they are going to power over the top of Casio the way this is looking.
This is going to be a great finish. Casio have been in front for the whole race, and it looks like here in the very last minutes of the race, RMW's about to get them.
They're starting to lift off, get up to windward of Casio, so RMW...
Oh, this will be shattering for Casio. Oh, look, they haven't given up yet. This turn will be critical.
Casio will come out with right away on this tack.
Oh, and they've done it. They've done it.
RMW's over the top, and now Casio, eat my gas. Look at that. Look how slow Casio's going, because all the dirty wind, the disturbed air is coming off RMW. They've got the foot to the floor now, and they're going to beat Casio the way this is going into the finish.
Oh, that was brilliant exhibition of sailing there by the British crew. Look, they're just minutes away from the finish now. They've tacked on top. Casio, look, they've got no answers. The boys have to be shattered after being in front for so long.
There it is. So RMW Marine wins from Casio. AAPT will be in 3rd spot, but only just. So really amazing effort here. Casio lost so much time going to the finish here. But what a great race. But we've got an even greater race because we don't know who is going to win the World Championship. ASCO is coming into the line now. So it looks like they are going to be 4th, maybe 5th. So where is Club Marine? Certainly Rag and Famish can't win it now, but we have to find Club Marine coming into the finishing line.
Incredibly, Club Marine is in 9th position. If they maintain that position, they will win this series. So they have come through the field. They were back in 14th, 15th position earlier on, and yes, they're in 9th position. They just need to hold this on to the finish, and they will be the world champions.
But they'll be the world champion. There it is. They are the official winner by 1 point, just 1 point over ASCO. What a finish. Incredibly, RMW held the lead for just 1 minute, but it was when it mattered right at the finish over Casio and AAPT. But what mattered was the result of the World Championship. Club Marine held on to 9th place in that race to take the title by just 1 point over ASCO, with RMW third.
Crawled up through the fleet, and then we were sort of in second. Then the bowsprit snapped off down the last reach, so we dropped down to third. But then we managed to have a good last beat, even with the broken bowsprit, and came up to win the race just on the line. It was a good close finish.
But there's no denying Club Marine is the world champion. They take the traditional world champion ribbon and head home victors.
Absolutely ecstatic. Obviously today was just really tough day. We didn't sail as well as we have all week and put ourselves under a lot of pressure. But Seb made a comment to me after the finish. He said, "Oh, you never really looked like you were, getting really angry." And I sort of said, "Well, I guess you just sort of got to believe that something's going to happen and something's going to happen," and it did. So we managed to sneak into 9th, and that was enough by points.
So congratulations, Ewan McNichol, Sev Jarvan and Tim Austin, Sangyong world champions in the 18-foot skiffs.